What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades. Today's featured blade is a Cold Steel American Lawman folder, and I've had this knife for a while. I actually forgot to do a review on it. It's been featured in my videos before. I actually did months ago. I did a comparison video between it and the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 because I consider these two knives, at least for myself personally, to be probably the best two full-size EDC knives on the market today. Now, I held off or I just forgot to do this video, but recently Cold Steel has made a move in their product line as far as their blade steel goes. And this model is in Carpenter's CTS-XHP, which is basically a stainless tool steel, and a very high performing, very well received and loved blade steel. But they are having a hard time acquiring this steel from Carpenter in the amounts that they need for their product line. From what I understand, the rumors going around through the community is Carpenter is pretty much concentrated more on the industrial side as far as tooling goes for this steel. Therefore, you're going to see this go into tooling and industry more than into just manufacturing of knives. Hence, it's getting sort of hard to pick up. Now this is a pretty serious situation for a knife company like Cold Steel. This is such a well-received steel choice, the CTS-XHP, across their product line as an upgrade from where they used to use AUS 8. It was so well received and so liked, and it performed so well, guys. When it comes time to change steel, that's a big problem for a manufacturer. And what Cold Steel has decided to do is go with S35VN, which is another powder metallurgy steel, another American-made steel. And there are some differences I'll cover later on, but that's really is what has sparked me into sort of, going to go ahead and do this American Lawman video. And then I've got another Cold Steel video coming up that will be on the Recon 1 folder, also in CTS-XHP, as sort of a farewell to that steel across the Cold Steel line. All right. We'll set this thing down real quick. Let's take a look at the packaging. It's sort of a standard fare for Cold Steel packaging. You've got your model number here. This is the 58ACL American Lawman, and that is the black on black American Lawman. You can also get the American Lawman in OD Green G10 and Flat Dark Earth G10. Both with the DLC, black DLC coated blades. But that's your standard packaging there, and it's just a box, and inside the box you'll find the knife in a baggie, and then you'll find your second pocket clip, because Cold Steel does use a radiused pocket clip, and you need a different direction of radius for each side of the handle on the knife, so you have right and left hand carry options. All right, we will go ahead. Let's knock out the specs on this, get the numbers out of the way. Like I say, this is what I would consider to be a full-size, everyday carry, or EDC knife. You're looking at about 3 3/8 inch blade length. That's 8.5 centimeters. Your blade stock thickness, 132 thousandths of an inch, or 3.37 millimeters. Your blade width, 1.2 inches, or 30.7 millimeters. Handle length, 4 3/4 of an inch, or 12 centimeters. Your handle thickness, 400 thousandths of an inch, or 10.2 millimeters. Your handle width at the widest point here at the choil, 1.5 inches, or 38.12 millimeters. Your closed width, 1.62 inches, or 41.3 millimeters. Overall length, 8 1/8 inch. or 20.5 centimeters. Your stop pin diameter, 198 thousandths of an inch or 5 millimeters. Behind the edge thickness, a pretty slicey 22 thousandths of an inch or 0.56 millimeters. Your handle to blade ratio, a respectable 0.71. And your weight, an easy to carry 4.02 ounces or 114 grams. All right, let's take a look at what we got here material wise. And Cold Steel takes a very simple approach to their product line in most cases, and this included your blade steel, again, Carpenter CTS-XHP. That is an American-made stainless tool steel, basically. And just the general breakdown on this steel is, this is a hot rod version of a couple of different steels. The first being 440C. And what you get with this over 440C is a much higher level of hardenability and edge resistance. And then the other comparison is to D2. And this is considered to be like a very stainless D2. So what you end up with is the best features of both of those steels. You get the extended edge retention of D2, but the higher, much higher levels of corrosion resistance of, say, a 440C. It's a very, very interesting steel. The max Rockwell typically is about 64. You will normally find it with knife manufacturers hardened in the 60-62 Rockwell range. Your carbon content is 1.6%, which is the same as D2. Your chromium content is 16%, which is more than D2. And your vanadium content is 0.45%, which is less than D2. So what you end up with is excellent edge retention or wear resistance, good to very good toughness or impact resistance, and very good corrosion resistance. And let's go ahead and compare that to S35VN just in a general way. Your edge retention on XHP is going to be better than S35VN. It will hold an edge longer. As far as toughness and impact resistance, they're going to be about equal. And then in corrosion resistance, they're going to be about equal. Both are vanadium alloyed steels, so they're going to be fairly toothy and aggressive cutters. Another aspect of the CTS-XHP, the last one I'll go over, is the decrease in vanadium from D2. And anybody that's worked with D2 knows it's hard to put a very fine finish on D2 without it taking sort of an orange peel look. And that is because of the very high vanadium content, vanadium being a carbide former. So you're not going to get D2 often. It's got a super mirror polish on it. And also D2 typically will always have a very toothy edge no matter how fine or polished an edge you go on it. I feel like in my experience CTS-XHP is a little easier to put a thin edge on, and it is a little bit better for a polished edge than D2. All right, as far as your handle material goes, very simple. G10 slabs, and then your lock pieces here in steel. You've got stainless steel small parts, and that's it, guys. There's no liners in here. There's no nothing. Just some nice thick G10 slabs that are very rigid. All right, offer plenty of support for that triad lock, which is, in my opinion, the strongest locking mechanism on the market. There's just tons of lab proof of that, guys. It is just a super strong lock. So very simple. It's just a simple knife, guys, and that is something that Cold Steel does very well. You don't see bolster build, titanium this, liner lock that, on this knife. It's just what it is. Very simple. All right, fit and finish. let's go over here to the blade. Now, these knives, when Cold Steel upgraded to CTS-XHP, they also upgraded their blade coating. Blade coating, not the coating on the small parts, just the blade coating, to DLC. DLC is diamond-like carbon. It is a coating that adheres with the steel at a microscopic level. It is not just a surface applied coating like their old Teflon coating. You will not scratch this off. And you can see on this blade, I have used this for months, guys. It doesn't take any wear at all. You can see a couple of spots here towards the tip, and that is just burnishing. That is just where that has been rubbed smooth. It is not rubbed off. It's still there. It is a very tough coating. One of the toughest coatings available on the market. I very much like it. All right, but your small stuff is still going to be black oxide and Teflon coating. It will show wear after a while. All right, guys, especially in your pocket clip, that's still that Teflon coating. It'll start to wear around the edges. You can see here, and sooner or later, it's just going to have that sort of pock-marked, weird look where it wears through that, just like Cold Steel pocket clips always have done. All right, the fit and finish on the blade itself, the grinds, this is a hollow grind. It is a high hollow grind. It's a drop point blade configuration. The hollow grinds are very even side to side. The edge grind is very well done side to side. It came extremely sharp. I will say this for Cold Steel, of the 4 Cold Steel knives I have in my collection, every one of them was as sharp or sharper than any other factory knife I've ever bought at any price point. They do an excellent job on their edge profiles, guys. Excellent. The only thing I'm going to ding this knife on is a problem that a lot of manufacturers have, and that is the termination of the edge grind at the plunge grind. You can see you've got this large forward choil, but this is a working choil, not really a sharpening choil. And you can see that you cannot sharpen this blade all the way back because you will get into this wide, soft plunge grind, and you would have some very excessive edge flare at that point. I would have actually liked to have seen this choil come forward just a little bit to get past that plunge grind, but it is what it is, guys. Hopefully Cold Steel can improve that in future generations of this knife. As far as the fit and finish on the handle goes, I have never had an issue with a fit and finish on any Cold Steel G10 build knife like this. Everything is radiused very well. All the machining is done very well. The fit is very good. You'll notice right here, you can actually see down, you can see daylight on the between the lock mechanism and the G10, and that is not a fitment issue. That is just a product of a back lock type of lock. You typically will get a little bit on every one of these knives featuring the triad lock, and it is not an issue at all. It's just part and parcel for that type of lock, guys. All right, as far as the finish on the small parts, everything is the even, shiny, Teflon-y, sort of coated black finish here. It will wear over time, but it does look attractive. So, I mean, there's zero fit and finish issues, guys, zero. Okay, on to action. This is a triad lock knife. Love it or hate it, the triad lock is what it is. The primary design parameter of the triad lock was strength, not ease of use. It just tickles me to death every time I see somebody say, I hate the triad lock, it's too hard to use. Well, you should know that going in because it's advertised as a strong lock, not an easy to use lock. Period. I've never seen it advertised as easy to use. I've never heard anybody say that it's easy to use. Yet people still complain it's too hard to use. It's too hard to push the plunger down. I can't flip it in and out like a fidget spinner. You know what, guys? It's the strongest lock on the market, and that's all it is. It is not the most refined. It is not the easiest to use. It is not the fanciest, most enjoyable fidget toy. It is a strong lock, period. That said, in this version and all of my other triad lock knives, it's very smooth. The rotation of the blade is very smooth. It is running on phosphor bronze washers. Even with this coating, this DLC coating, and you can see that your lock-in tang here, that it rides against the tang of the blade. It's a very smooth feel. The machining is very fine, and that coating is sort of a self-lubricating coating, and it does feel very good. Now, it's not going to be that kind of knife that you flick open and closed. You can. Well, I'm in front of the camera, guys. I'm going to try that again. We'll try it again. There we go. Actually, it is fairly easy to do once you get the technique and you're not behind a camera and a tripod, but it's not a fidget toy. It's just a strong, strong lock. As far as that goes, when it's open, it is extremely, extremely, extremely solid feeling. There is zero play in any direction. There's not even a hint of any play, guys. It feels as solid as any folding knife will. As far as that goes, the smoothness, you can see just a little shake and it'll drop closed. No, it's not bearings, but for a phosphor bronze washer knife, it is very smooth. And the centering on it is extremely good, guys. It is just as good an action as any other knife if you take into consideration the limitations of the lock type. Not a smooth lock, a tough and strong lock. All right, let's go to ergos. We'll start on the blade. We'll do the utility of the blade. You've got a drop point with a high hollow grind, a pretty pointy and piercy tip on it here, guys. Look, you can see right there, it readily pierces with little to no pressure. No issue there. This hollow grind that is very high gives you a nice thin edge at about 22 thousandths of an inch. It is very slicey. I personally prefer a flat grind rather than a hollow grind, but this is a very good hollow grind and it is very slicey. There is no jimping on the back of this blade, but as we go into the ergos of the handle, you're going to see you don't really need it. You've got an extremely deep and pronounced finger choil here, and then the rest of your handle is fairly wide open, so it's not limiting on grips. You also have this forward choil, much like the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. These knives are very similar overall. If you want, you can go back and look at my video comparing the two, and I will put a link to that in the description of this video right here. And you know what, guys? It's just a very ergonomic knife. You've got this light radius here on the back where it fits your hand because your hand is curved and not flat. The knife is good in a forward grip, a forward grip, forward, and even in a reverse grip, it's a comfortable knife, even forward, guys. As far as a draw grip, I think you're a little bit far away from the edge to where it would be a little cumbersome to use, and you're not going to be able to choke up here because you're going to get that extension here from the choil right into the palm of your hand. So I don't like it in that grip at all. But as far as a forward or reverse grip, it is very, very good, very ergonomic. It is a flat and thin handle. Some people may not like that, but it is a fairly wide profile too. To me, it is very comfortable in my medium-sized hands. I'm not going to get any twisting. I've got plenty of flatness here to stop that. There is enough handle there to where it feels hand-feeling, although that feeling comes from the width of the blade and not, or the width of the handle and not the thickness of the handle. So keep that in mind. The pocket clip, standard cold steel pocket clip design. It is not intrusive into your grip. So no issue there. Now, as far as the cold steel coarse G10 pocket clip issue that a lot of people know about, the G10 on this knife is more comparable to the G10 that you would find on a paramilitary 2. It is not as coarse as, say, the G10 on this Recon 1. So it is a medium coarseness, pretty much perfect for an EDC knife. So no issues there. Guys, this is such a good design. We're going to set it down right here, bring that paramilitary 2 out again, and look at these two knives. They are so similar, guys. Not only size-wise, width-wise, blade length, and cutting edge-wise. You've got a forward choil on both, a good primary choil, a fairly simple handle design that is a full-size handle for a fairly compact but full-size EDC knife. You go back and watch that video I did comparing the two. They really are two of the best EDC, full-size EDC knives on the market. All right, guys. So in close, I think it's pretty universally understood that the American Lawman profile from Cold Steel is just a fantastic design, very well executed, good materials, good fit and finish, a super strong lock. If you are looking for something that is in the same size range as the paramilitary 2, this is probably your best option on the market if you want to stay in a G10 type of build. You got a great blade steel, so no issues there. Honestly, I think that every knife enthusiast should have one of these in their collection alongside of a paramilitary 2. They are that good, that close together, guys. And you're going to ask, does Baz on Blades recommend the Cold Steel American Lawman? I do, in the CTS-XHP, which is still available out there if you search around. Don't be afraid to go to eBay over this. Just be watchful of your eBay sellers. And then the upcoming S35VN versions, it's going to be just as good a knife, maybe not as good a edge retention, but just as good a knife and just as good a design, guys. Baz on Blades wholeheartedly endorses and recommends the Cold Steel American Lawman. As always, I thank you for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again. This is for you, Slicey Dicey. I hope you like it, brother. American Lawman, fighting crime with a kung fu kick and a 45. He's American Lawman. American Lawman. When he's around, crime goes down. Thank you, American Lawman. American Lawman. American Lawman. American Lawman.